What's up, peeps? It's your boy CJ, and today we're reviewing the Galvin SUVI. Let's get it. Alright, so the Galvin features a case size of 33 by 40 millimeters. We got a case material of 316L stainless steel, case thickness of 11.1 millimeters, lug width of 19, lug to lug of 46, 50 meters of water resistance, and a Miyota 9.039 with a custom rotor. It also features a domed sapphire crystal with AR coating, all for the price of $473. SUVI translates to summer in Finnish, and with this collection it's inspired by the tranquil warmth of summer, and you see this with the 7 colors that Galvin has featured here. I'll just put that up on screen right now. So how does it wear? Well, let's start off with the lugs. You got these short and stubby lugs, almost masculine in shape, especially with the strap lining really flush up against the case. Something you don't really see often. I've never really come across something like this on a watch before, but I quite like the appeal a little bit. As you can see here on the wrist, it's curving perfectly with the shape of the case to my wrist. It's quite nice to have a watch that's extremely comfortable because of the case molding to your wrist rather than just something straight. It's very intentional, and I feel like it works perfectly here. I like to highlight the quality of the strap and the comfort of it. It just adds to the comfort of the watch overall. Just because you're going for that dressy look, the last thing you want is to feel uncomfortable in any situation. Okay, so features. So the watch comes with applied cardinal markers at the 3, 6, and 9, and then you got the 12 o'clock marker and the Galvin logo just below. Quite minimal, very clean, just a neat look overall. The same cardinal markers are also polished, as well as the hands, and I love the way the hour hand has that slight, it looks like a crescent moon almost, the end of the hour hand, which I think is a really cool touch, and especially that the hands match the actual indices in colorway. The case finishing in this situation is something you don't see often on a dress watch. In fact, I've never seen it before. You got a bead blasted finish all around the case, and then the case back has this high polish edge to it along the profile, and then at the very back you got this brushed effect on the case back. A unique look, something that definitely isn't seen in the watch world when it comes to dress pieces. The crown, this is something I quite like a lot. In this particular model, as I'm showcasing here, there's a green strip along the crown, or the inner part of the crown. This is going to match the color of the dial in the final production models of the watches, and just keep that in mind along the review as you see different parts, because these are pre-production models. But I love the crown. It's chunky, it's big, and the knurling is perfect. It's easy to grip, and you don't have any problems. And it has this really cool light play feature along the side of the case when viewing it. So nice touch. So the dial itself is flat along the majority of the case, especially around the minute markers. It does have a nice railway track for the minutes, and then features this beautiful textured portion in the inner part of the dial, which again for a dress watch is something that is usually absent. Highlighting the case back again, it features this really nice textured portion just because of the brushing, especially because it has that high polish along the profile, and then you got those 4 screws that give it somewhat of an industrial look, which I really appreciate. And then the assembled in Australia is just cherry on top, so real cool. The fact that the crystal showing the exhibition case back is curved as well is just a real nice touch. And then obviously you got your custom rotor, which I think looks really cool. Okay, so when it comes to legibility and lume, the watch is going to do almost perfect during daylight. But the moment you enter the shadows, that's where the indices are going to have some problems, especially with the darker colored tones. On this white version here, it seems to work fine because it's high contrast, but as you can see here on this sort of navy blue or almost black, it seems, it can very quickly be masked out when it's in shadow. And so legibility, so-so, but during the daytime, perfect. Lume, there is no lume, so let's quickly move past that. Okay, pros and cons. Now, while I appreciate the short lugs because it's something totally different, when it comes to my kind of watch, it's something I feel I'm not gonna like so much, and a lot of people also might dislike. It works for this watch itself, but because it's not my cup of tea, I don't know how I feel about it. I do like the quality of it. It gives it that, like I said, that masculine sort of sturdy look because it just hugs the case so tightly, but it's not my favorite. Now the overall watch, while it is 11 mils thick, the shape of the watch and the style of it, it gives that very Frank Mueller sort of look, and I've never been a fan of that sort of style. So the thickness of it, when it comes to a dress piece, it's not technically thick, but it feels quite thick because of the big curve that this case has. So it has its positives in that regard, but the negative is it feels quite chunky, almost big as a dress piece. And so, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the thickness itself. And then lastly, the lack of lume and the legibility. I mean, the legibility is no problem. I feel like when you're going for polished dials, or polished indices, I should say, and hands, it's tough to make legibility an important part. Now, that being said, it is a dress watch, so you know, you're probably not going to be looking at the time a lot of the time. If you're out for dinner, it'll be quite rude. So I think this is a stretch. It's almost like a nitpick, but the legibility of the watch is quite good on the white model, which is why it's my favorite. But I think it falls short on the other models. Okay, so now the cons. I love the curve. I know this is going to seem quite contradictory because I just talked about how thick it is and all of that, but I feel like it's something that not a lot of brands seem to do very well. There's a few brands that have tried this sort of curved look, and a lot of the time it comes off tacky, comes off kind of cheap looking. But I feel like Galvin has just, you know, shown us again, time and time again, it seems, that everything they do is just quality. Everything Susan does is just quality. Like, the watch feels so substantial, so solid. And so I really appreciate the curve, even though it might not be my total cup of tea in every other aspect, but I do really like the curve. It feels very comfortable on wrist, and you almost never want to take it off just because of it. Next feature, this is a very quick one, build quality. Again, Susan's nailed it, Galvin's nailed it. The watch is just built to perfection, you know, even though it's a dress watch and some would say somewhat feminine in case shape and style, it feels so solid and so well built in so many ways. And you get that feeling, especially when you look at the case back, you know, the screws and the sort of brushing gives it that industrial feel, especially with that custom rotor. It's built like a tank, and I love and I don't mean that in a negative way, I mean it in a very good way. I love the big crown, and it's just solid all around. This is a very quick one, but I'm loving the suede strap. I've only had a little bit of experience with suede straps before, but I gotta say, this has got to be by far the best one I've experienced. It's soft, it's supple, it's extremely comfortable, and I feel like it lends to this watch's style even more so. So I'm a big fan of the strap. Nicely done with the suede. Again, another quick one, the crown. I can't get over how easy it is to use, how satisfying it is to screw. It being chunky and bold, and the knurling is so sharp and easy to grip. It's a pleasure to use and a pleasure to wind. So I'm a big fan of the crown. You know, it's a nice touch having the Galvin logo as per the Loy Mew model. And while I wish that the colored ring was loomed, I think it is very cool to have that colored ring to represent your dial moving forward on the final production. So really digging the crown. And then last but not least, just overall a unique watch. Like, you got a dress watch here with a textured dial. You got a dress watch with a bead blasted case. You know, you got these bold colors that a lot of the time are absent when it comes to dress watches, that are always black or white or maybe blue, you know. And so I think it's really nice and refreshing to get something that's totally unique. You know, the K-shape is, like I said, very familiar to Frank Mueller or watches of that ilk, but I think it's unique in its own way, that there's almost no brands other than those that are doing anything like this, and she's done it in a totally different way as well. You know, it's a great piece. It's not for me, but I'm sure it'll be for quite a lot of you, especially with the bold colors. I'm loving the white, and then my second favorite is clearly the blue and the rose gold. Let me know what you think. I'd love to know your thoughts about this type of watch, this style of watch, because it is different. It's definitely different. And yeah, let me know in the comments down below. That's it. Thanks for shopping by, and remember to watch out.